Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're looking at a really fascinating personal account. It's about a lucid dream, one where the dreamer actually tried to seize control of the narrative.
Right. And the mission here is to unpack what happened when they did that and what it might suggest about, the difference between dreams and reality itself.
What immediately jumped out at me reading this was the dreamer's reaction to this terrifying event within the dream. Huge tsunami.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of the instinct to just flee, which you'd expect, they consciously decided, no, I'm staying, I'm going to watch this. That defiance is really the starting point.
So paint the picture. Sudden chaos, strong winds blowing, people screaming, and the sense of overwhelming rising water, like a massive wave is coming.
But the first really weird thing, the dreamer can't even tell where the water's originating from. There's this huge threat, but zero logic to its source or direction. Just panic in the air.
And because they know they're dreaming, they're lucid, they make this very conscious choice. Not run, but face it.
Which is just, that's the core of lucid dreaming right there, isn't it? That active decision within the dream state.
Mm-hmm. But even with that control, some weird dream stuff still kicks in. Like the dreamer mentions being afraid of these black areas like empty voids in the dream world.
Yeah, right. That fear actually makes them climb down from a high spot they'd reached. So it's like even when you think you're in the driver's seat, the dream still has its own weird physics or anxieties.
Yeah, exactly. And this is where trying to control things starts to make the dream kind of unravel, or at least show its seams.
For sure. The water having no clear direction, that completely breaks real-world logic. Especially as the account notes, the dreamer's house isn't anywhere near the sea or even a big river.
Right. So where would a tsunami even come from?
It highlights that fuzziness, dream logic versus waking logic. Consciously poking at it just makes it more obvious.
And then it gets even stranger.
Mm.
So eventually, the dreamer does pinpoint the water coming from the southeast, from behind a hill, apparently. But instead of this massive wave crashing down, it circles around the dreamer. It doesn't even touch them.
Whoa. So the threat just dissipates.
Yeah. It's like confronting the fear directly made the dream scenario just sort of short circuit. It's almost funny in a way.
And there's another detail about the environment itself. Areas that were hidden before suddenly become visible.
Which suggests the dream world isn't like fully rendered all the time. Maybe it only creates what the dreamer is focusing on. It's not a consistent, persistent world like reality.
That makes sense. Limited processing power, maybe?
Could be. And this leads to the dreamer's big realization. Trying to actively control the dream made it chaotic and illogical. It didn't behave predictably.
Which contrasts with just passively going along with the dream script, right? Even if those dreams are bizarre, they often have their own internal flow. Seems more coherent when you're not fighting it.
Exactly. That unfolding sequence you just accept while you're in it.
The dreamer made this interesting comparison to AI art.
Oh yeah, tell me about that.
Well, like you can give an AI a prompt and it generates an image, but it might lack deeper meaning or internal consistency. The dreamer felt something similar, trying to manipulate the dream. It became bendable, but lost its inherent soul or logic.
That's a great analogy. Malleable, but hollow somehow.
Yeah. Though it's crucial, as the dreamer points out, this is all subjective interpretation, right? What felt illogical might have some dream logic we don't get.
True. It's one person's experience. But that act of trying to control it, that's what reveals this stark difference from how we perceive reality.
So pulling back, what does this tell us? It really makes you think about control in our waking lives, too. Maybe a key difference between dreams or even imagination and reality is just that.
How so?
Well, reality just operates. It does its thing whether we try to control it or not, but trying to force a dream's hand seems to just expose how random and dependent on our own flawed expectations it is.
That's a really powerful point. It doesn't conform just because we want it to.
Exactly. Reality has its own rules. Dreams. Maybe less so when you push them.
So here's a final thought to leave with everyone. If consciously trying to steer our own internal dream worlds leads to such illogical, almost nonsensical outcomes, what does that suggest about the real limits of our control and maybe the inherent unpredictability in the actual reality we face every day?
Something to definitely ponder.
Thanks for diving deep with us today.